So welcome. My name is Tracy Glynn, and I'm one of the organizers of the Human Rights and Media Lecture Series being brought to you by the Atlantic Human Rights Center, St. Thomas University's Department of Human Rights, St. Thomas University's Department of Journalism and Communications, the MD Media Co-op, and Raven. I do want to begin by acknowledging that the organizers for today's lecture are on the stolen territories of the Wolastoqey, the Passamaquoddy, and the Mi'kmaq. These lands are bound by the peace and friendship treaties signed between the British Crown and the indigenous peoples of the Wabanagi region from 1725 to 1779. The treaties of peace and friendship did not involve the indigenous peoples of these lands ceding or surrendering any land. Rather, the treaties did establish terms of peaceful coexistence, recognizing indigenous peoples of the region as sovereign. So this winter and spring, the Human Rights and Media Lecture Series has discussed timely events in relation to the media. We've heard from speakers from different backgrounds who have told us what they're doing to make our media landscape a more safe, just, and equal space. If you missed a talk, a video recording of most of the talks can be found on the MD Media Co-op website at mdmediacoop.org. This lecture tonight will also be recorded and placed on the MD Media Co-op website in a few days. So this series is made possible with many hands. I want to thank especially Aditya Rao and Shannon Brooke Murphy with the Atlantic Human Rights Center, Amanda DiPaolo, the chair of the Department of Human Rights at St. Thomas University, Jamie Gillies, the chair of the Department of Journalism and Communications at St. Thomas University, Susan O'Donnell with Raven, and Ashlyn Albright, Jacqueline Cormier, and Angela Bosse at Stu Communications. So this evening, we are fortunate to have Kaitlyn Layden with us, who will speak about her activism on New Brunswick's household income policy, a policy that she says discriminates against social assistance recipients who live with a disability. So Kaitlyn is a disability rights advocate based in St. John. Her advocacy efforts include telling the public how the province's household income policy is discriminatory. So since 2020, Kaitlyn has written a number of articles for the MD Media Co-op and a disability awareness series. In July, she became a primary organizer of Axe the Hip, a letter writing campaign that resulted in more than 200 letters being sent to Social Development Minister Bruce Fitch and other provincial representatives asking for the household income policy to be axed. Kaitlyn regularly appears in the media, providing insightful commentary on issues of concern for people with disabilities, and she engages the public and politicians through her work with the New Brunswick Coalition of Persons with Disabilities. You can like them on Facebook. So in December, she was awarded one of Ability New Brunswick's 65th anniversary commemorative medals. And just on February 8th of this year, Kaitlyn was recognized as one of 25 women of influence in Canada, alongside women like Cindy Blackstock and others. So Kaitlyn, please take it away.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me the platform to be able to speak to everyone. I am very excited and humbled to be here. I love having conversations like this. And I even think this intimate group is a little better. And if you guys have questions that were not pre-submitted, if we have time, I would be open to that if Tracy is. So thank you very much. So in regards to the household income policy, I will just tell you a little bit about my story and why I started the activism I did. So I fell in love, like, you know, everyone does, disability or not. And then I found out in 2012, roughly, that because of the household income policy, I could, have a great relationship and have the fundamentals for marriage within my relationship, However, because of the household income policy, two people cannot get married without the recipient losing, or potentially losing, I should say, their livelihood, essentially. Rent subsidy, which I'm very fortunate to have, my provincial health card, and any form of financial stability. So I have always wanted to be married and achieve milestones like everybody else. So I do not think that a policy should hinder my choices. So that is why I decided, you know, who's gonna, no one is going to take on this policy for me. So I've got to do it. And it's an unjust policy, so I want to change it for everybody, not just myself. There is I believe 14 or 15 exemptions to the household income policy. So they already know that there is some flaws within the system. And I should mention that social development is undergoing a reform. And right now, you can live with the person of your choosing as long as you are not common law. So baby steps, but that's not enough for me. So that is why I continued and continue to advocate and fight. It has been a tireless uphill battle, but here we are. And I've been very humbled and grateful to receive everyone's support. There was a petition that was brought forth in the House, I believe in 2019, by the one of the Green Party members, Megan Mitten. So that was a really wonderful initiative, and that was my first, I believe, my first big moment in the House of Commons, and not many people get to say that. Is, oh yeah, I was just mentioned in the House. So I'm very humbled by any opportunities I have. So just to talk about having a disability, people with disabilities are, you know, a part of marginalized groups and well under the poverty line. So I'm not asking for anything more than I already receive as a single person. I'm just asking not to be penalized for wanting to spend a life and develop, you know, a marriage with my partner. So I think that is very important. And people with disabilities have been discriminated against, and have been discriminated against by certain groups. But a disability, I am just like you. I just adapt differently to different situations depending on what kind of comes my way. I've undergone a lot medically and emotionally, just with the trials and tribulations that come with having a disability. So you would think that the government in a perfect world would want to make life better and equal for all. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I hope that through conversations and through the ongoing reform, they will realize that this policy was made about 30 or some years ago, and things aren't the same as they were back then. I know the cost of food sure isn't. So a lot of people need both parties to be able to function or afford fruits and vegetables. My partner helps me financially because 832 frankly is not enough to live on. That was just um we recently got a raise, if you want to call it that, um with the social development on long-term social assistance. It is 832. I'm not sure what it is actually if you don't have a disability. I believe it's like 705. Don't quote me on those numbers. I know I'm being recorded. But yeah, it's just not enough. You shouldn't have to choose between financial stability and, you know, being able to eat. And also, the what COVID has taught us is that people are important, and it is important to have a network around you. And there's so much social isolation and so many issues with mental health. We should be coming forth and rising and lifting each other up and not tearing each other down. And the government could be doing so many other beneficial things besides enforcing this policy. So yeah, let me help you save some time and just let's abolish it right now for people with disabilities. So I was I believe there was a question in the chat. I see something in the chat. Was that from you?
I just posted the campaign Axe the Hip website.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any questions. I know it's not question time yet, but I'm not very formal. So if anyone has a question and can't hold it, feel free to interrupt me. I could probably do this talk in my sleep. So I'm sure I was rehearsing last night. So yes. And I just wanted to thank the students here, or maybe you're not students and you just wanted to learn some more awareness. But I think it's really important for us to have these candid conversations, and not every conversation. This is important to say. Nobody will agree. Everyone has, or some people may not agree. Everyone has opinions on a policy, what's right and what's wrong. But you know what I invite people to do? Like, until you live in someone's shoes with the hardships they face with a disability, whether it be poverty, like, don't judge. Just people can have their opinions and be inquisitive and have good conversations, but the just judging people is a waste of time and energy. And you know, we only get one crack at this life, as well as we know now. And I don't know what else you're studying in school. However, like, seize the day. So I think that's really important to say too, is I'm very glad of, you know, all my achievements that come this far with the household income policy. But it's really important to say, if anyone wanted to start advocating, you cannot do it alone. Power in numbers, and you know, more heads are better than one. And I say more because you don't just need two, you need an army. So, and I'd like to give some special recognition to my partner, who I will say has never asked to be in the media or be put in this situation. The only reason I am fighting this now is if him and I both had disabilities, we would be okay because we'd be in poverty and that's not okay. But I'd be unable to maybe achieve greatness within my life and eating healthy food, but I'd be able to get married. So it's kind of like which do you want more? And I think that it is very important to acknowledge that equality for all, but especially people with disabilities, is most important. We're not this is not the hierarchy. This was not years ago. This is now. So I just wanted to say that while I thought of it as well. It's not in my notes, but so Tracy, did you have any?
I can, do you want me to post the questions from the students? And
Sure. And then if there's any other questions, people can put them in the chat. And if you can read out each question, that would be great, just so I'm not looking down. I want to look at the camera.
For sure, Kaitlyn. Thank you. So yeah, folks that are here, feel free to either use the chat or the raise your hand function, which is the button. It's found under reactions at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So our first question from Petra is, I'm going to comment too, is your activism work on New Brunswick's household income policy is very applaudable. What form of online media activism do you find the most useful in your activism, or what have you used the most? The use of hashtags, posting powerful messages and photos, creating events, writing your articles for the MD Media Co-op. And Petra also says, congratulations on your Ability New Brunswick medal and being recognized as a woman that influences Canada.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you so much for the question. And that is a loaded question. So I'm just going to break it down a little bit. The media source I use the most, I really like to engage with people via Zoom or do things that way. But I do seem to use Facebook, Twitter, the MB Media Co-op has really been an outlet for me and more like therapy. You get mad and you just write your heart out, and then eventually there is an article that comes of it. And recognition is not important to me, but the message and the fact of advocating with dignity, that is very important. And what else was I'm just trying to go back to the original question.
I think the question was like what elements of social media activism you find the most useful and powerful.
Yeah, I really use it all, but I love chances to engage with the public like this.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
The next question, I guess, is from, and some students are here and some are not. So but some of them are going to be listening to this recording afterwards. So Emma asks, I'm wondering if the policy that impacted Kaitlyn's financial disability is unique to New Brunswick, or if policies like it exist in other Atlantic provinces or in Canada.
It is not unique to New Brunswick. Unfortunately, this is a national issue. So New Brunswick could be a groundbreaking province and remove some stigma. So great question, but no, it's not.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Tessa. What further changes can the New Brunswick government make in order to prevent the discrimination of those with disabilities or chronic illnesses in regards to social assistance?
I think one of the most important things is for the government to look at, okay, people with disabilities are not on an equal playing field as it is. And it would be of the utmost importance to me to be under a different category than social assistance, maybe perhaps health, you know, having a disability and potentially some mental health issues can go hand in hand. And one thing that I do not like, I think the government needs to get it out of their vocabulary, especially when they're doing any sort of media or headlines. I hate the word welfare. Uh, and I'm just going to say that because, no one knows someone's situation. So why not they call it a helping hand if they want to call it something else than social assistance?
Thanks, Caitlin. So the next question is from a group of students from Caitlin, Valerie, and Sarah. I think Caitlin's with us. I'm not sure if Caitlin wants to voice it. I don't want to put them on the spot. Not seeing the mic turn on, I'm just going to voice it. So how do you think that social media has assisted in the advancement of the rights of people with disabilities? Do you think that social media has also created challenges while advocating for the rights of people with disabilities? And then the third part of that question is, can you elaborate on how the government decides who qualifies as a roommate versus a partner? And what type of problems arise from this? So those are three big questions. So I'll repeat the first one. So how do you think that social media has assisted in the advancement of the rights of people with disabilities?
Uh, it's assisted greatly. I think that, people are able to get their stories out and use social media to spread awareness, and especially platforms like Facebook and Twitter. No one has money this day and age, unless maybe you're a politician. But so it's great to have some free services and to even be able to spread so much awareness. Like, for instance, I wouldn't have had so much help with my email campaign had I not um I'm very persistent. I engaged everyone individually, started a conversation, didn't just say like, hey, I need your help with this. And then, worked my way into it. So it's been a lot of work, but social media has definitely assisted. Has it hindered? Um, Definitely. All the news stories, like, I choose not to read the hate comments because um everyone has their own opinion and they're entitled to it. But has it hindered things? Potentially my mental state if I allowed it to, but that is why I don't read comments. And it's also very nice to be able to um have different media outlets or different newspapers pick it up. The internet's a wonderful thing, and I don't think that I would be as far with my activism as I am today without it. What was the second part of the question?
Yeah, I think you answered the two. And then the third was can you elaborate on how the government decides who qualifies as a roommate versus a partner, and what type of problems arise from this?
So that is a good question. The government does not really have a manual for making policies and decisions being black and white. I know you can qualify as a roommate as long as you are not cohabitating in a relationship and you make under the, I believe now it's 992. I'm hoping they put that up. Whether people, I guess right now it's just about the honesty policy of whether you're together or not, because there'd be no real way to uh, police the system effectively, nor do I think that it is needed. There's so many other important causes. It's so important just to focus on them that it's little fish, in my opinion, in regards to look at everything going on in the world. This is definitely a first world problem.
Okay, thank you, Kaitlyn. The next question is from Madeline and Tessa. I think Madeline's here. I'm not sure if Madeline wants to voice it. Maybe I'll just go to the question. So Madeline and Tessa ask, what was your biggest accomplishment with your activism? What are some of the effects that result when people with disabilities are not able to live within a home that contains love and support from loved ones? So 2 questions, I guess, there.
Um, my greatest accomplishment, I uh, this is gonna sound cliche, but I believe it is the people I've touched and the work I've done so far. I get emails from people in New Zealand asking me to change their policy and help with that. And I joke and I say, once I change mine, we might be able to work on yours together, but I would have to learn whole different law language. So, and to be able to not have the support of your loved ones at home, it is devastating to be able, or to not be able to, sorry, um to be with the people of your choosing. It's difficult because I did not ask for a disability. I was born with cerebral palsy, but no one asked for, issues and health complications. It just happened. So I just deal with the cards I'm dealt, and I'm very, happy with my life as a whole. But being able to get married would change a lot in regard. I would just probably find another social development policy to fight with, or fight about. There's so many unjust issues in the world. I don't think I'm done at the household income policy. This is just the start.
And then their second question was, what are some of the effects that result when people with disabilities are not able to live within a home that contains love and support from loved ones?
Well, there can be a lot of different um effects. You know, for one, being in poverty, like not being able to afford to live, and worrisome, like the issue, the mental health issues that can go hand in hand with it. And um it can be a safety issue for some depending on your disability. So it's just a ripple effect and nothing positive.
Okay, thanks. Tobin has a question. I'm not sure if Tobin wants to voice it.
Sure, but I have Selby, so it'll have to be with my camera off. I'm sorry. Hi, Kaitlyn.
Hi.
I'm wondering if you've experienced a lot of solidarity among disabled and non-disabled social assistance recipients on the Axe the Hip campaign. So like, are you seeing social assistance recipients without disabilities who the HIP impacts working in solidarity with the disability community on this issue?
That is a great question, Tobin. And I think that is yet to be determined. Obviously, everybody wants the household income policy to be abolished. I just believe it is more feasible at the moment for the government to do it for a smaller group. So for people with disabilities, I'm not saying the policy is right as a whole. I've been very frank in saying that I think it is discriminatory and can affect people's mental health. And, you know, in a perfect world, it would be abolished for everyone. So hopefully that happens. I don't see it happening with our government in the near future, but I think that people that have been watching my story and the progress with the household income policy are overall supportive. And if they're not, I have not read their comments. So yeah.
Tracy, can I clarify?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, Kaitlyn, I appreciate that. Thank you. But what I was asking is around the movement itself, the Axe the Hip movement. Are you seeing social assistance recipients without disabilities working on the movement as well in solidarity with disabled
yes.
social assistance recipients?
Yes. So several people have like with the Axe the Hip campaign, they wrote letters and they were just very supportive. Whether you have a disability or not, many people know someone affected by a disability. So people have been overwhelmingly supportive for the most part.
Any questions for any other folks? You can raise your hand, or or a small group, so you could also just unmic your. Okay, well, thank you, Kaitlyn. Thank you for sharing with us today and for all your activism. I do hope that folks here, if you haven't sent a letter yet, the website on how to send the letter is included in the chat there. Yeah, so I hope you all have a good evening. And I don't know.
And I just wanted to clarify one thing. So I am currently doing this initiative as a self-advocate, though I am, I'm on the New Brunswick Coalition for Persons with Disabilities board, as well as Ability New Brunswick. I've received great support from both, but I did want to clarify. And if anyone knows anyone that could benefit, I'll just put the coalition's website so that you guys can check it out on your own time, if that's okay.
And so for the recording, nbcpd.org.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to help us advocate, sign up on the website to become a member, and you'll get newsletters as well. And I am the social media specialist, I guess, so I'm always on there doing the social media. And the MB Media Co-op has been a great supporter. I know a few of us have submitted stories. So thank you very much for your time and patience and listening to me talk, and I hope you learned something of value. And if anyone wants to reach out, feel free. Tracy has my email, and I will allow her to give that to you. So I really appreciate the time and effort. I know things are busy with the school year, or maybe you're just here out of interest. But either way, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kaitlyn. We appreciate you greatly.